Hello my lovelies, welcome back to my channel. This is your girl Angel from Simply Angel Tia. In this video I'm going to show you guys how to crochet this shrug. And yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and talk about all the materials that we're using, as well as show you guys in a sample size how I did this shrug. And hopefully you guys will be able to follow along and be able to make one for you or your friends with the holidays coming up, Christmas holiday I mean. Hopefully you will be able to get started with projects that are big so that you can gift it during the holidays. Okay, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Okay my lovelies, so before we get started with the project, I'm going to show you all the materials that we're using for it. And as you can see here, I have my colors, my yarn. I have this yarn from this company Azurite. It's 100% acrylic and it is a lightweight number 3, and this is 50 grams for this size here. And recommended hook size is 3.5 to 4 millimeter crochet hook. And this company here does not go by a color name, they go by color number. And as you can see here, this is 28691 is the color. Okay, so exact same information for this, except for this color here, it's color 3074, which I will just say it is gray, and I will call this kind of like, I guess, bluish teal-ish kind of color. Okay, so I have these two colors that I'm gonna use. You can obviously use any combination of colors you want, or just go with one color. I will probably need about, I'd say 6 to 10 of these skeins here. As I said, it's 50 grams each, because I'm making mine to be a little bit of a, it's a medium small or a small medium, so it's kind of like on the last spectrum of the small entering into medium. Okay, and for this color here, make sure you have between 2 to 4, I would say. Okay, I'm gonna use a little bit of a bigger crochet hook size. I'm using H8 US, which is 5 millimeter crochet hook, and that is just because I want my work to be a little bit loose and easy to work with. I have a scissors here to cut my strands. I have a darning needle. I have some stitch markers and a measuring tape for getting our size. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay my lovelies, so I'm just going to talk about sizing a little bit here and how you measure your work. So I have just a book here because I don't have anything else to kind of use it to demonstrate it. So what we're doing here with this book, because we're making our work kind of to be a rectangle like this. Okay, so the number of chains we're going to start with is going to be the length here, and then this side here will be how many rows we build the work up to. Okay, and this is gonna be the length of your sweater, or the length of your shrug, and this is gonna be the width. So this is the part that wraps around your body like this, and this is the part that falls back on your back. Okay, now the one that I'm making, like I said, is small medium. I'm going to do the number of chains that will correspond with this length here, and then however many rows I will do will be corresponding to this. Okay, so make sure you're working knowing that you're working with your measurements like this. So I'm gonna put these away. So for the let's say I'm gonna just make it very simple. I'm gonna do a small, and what I will do is I will start with a chain of 120 plus 1. Okay, so 120 chains plus 1 being a turning chain. And if you're doing a medium, I would recommend that you add 20 chains every time that you do the next size. So if you're doing a medium, do 140. If you're doing a large, do 160. And if you're doing an extra large, do 180. And then you just increase your work like that. Okay. Now I'm going to just quickly here show you how to start the project, but I'm going to do a small sample. So instead of doing 120 chains, I'm going to do 20 plus 1. So I'm going to do a chain of 21, because I'm going to show you guys how to do it in a sample form, and then we will work on the big project and then go on and continue from there. Okay, so I'm going to do my slip knot just like I would be doing for every work that I start. And then I'm going to start my chain of 21. But in your case, if you're making it the exact same size I am, you would be doing 121. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so this is my sample chain here of 21, and the 1 being a turning chain. And then what I will do is I will skip that turning chain here, and in the next one on the back of the chain, I'm gonna go in and do a half double crochet. just like this. Okay, and then in the next, I'm gonna go ahead and grab the back loop of the chain and do another half double crochet, and I will just continue to do this throughout the remainder of the chain here. So go ahead and do the same. If you're doing the actual full size, then obviously you will have a little bit longer than me to work on it, but you can always pause the video, and then when you have completed your half double crochets, come back and we will move on to row 2. Okay, my lovelies, so I have completed my first row here, and it's just a row of the half double crochets in the back of the foundation chain, and I should have 20 stitches all together. And for yours, depending on how many rows you how many chains you did, you will have just 1 stitch less than what you did for the chain. Okay, all right, so we're gonna start row 2. For row 2, I'm gonna do a chain of 1 and turn. And in this first stitch right here, the chain 1 does not count as a stitch, but in this first chain here, I'm going to go in and do a double crochet, just like that. And then I'm going to do my triangle stitch in the next couple of stitches here. So for triangle stitch, I yarn over, I go into the next stitch, and I bring it back. I have 3 loops on the hook. I yarn over, I go into the next stitch, I bring it back. I have 5 loops on the hook. I yarn over, I go into the next stitch, I bring it back. I have 7 loops on the hook. Okay, and then from this, I'm going to yarn over and go through the first 6 loops, and then I'll yarn over, go through the final 2 loops, and then I'll chain 1 to lock it in like this. So this is my triangle stitch right here. Okay, and then I'm going to go back and do another triangle stitch. So I'm going to go into the same stitch where I had my last loop here, right here. I'm going to yarn over, go into that. I have 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, go into the next stitch, bring it back. I have 5 loops on the hook, go through, go to the next stitch, and then I will have 7 loops on the hook, yarn over, go through the first 6 loops, and then yarn over, go through the remaining 2, and then chain 1. Okay, so this is very similar to the puff stitch, except we're making it a little bit different. So as you can see here, the fact that we don't go through all the loops at once, it doesn't make it a ball, it makes it kind of like a triangle like that. That's why it's called a triangle stitch. And then you pretty much just repeat this all throughout the second row, all the way. And when you have 1 stitch left at the end, you're gonna come back and I will show you what to do for that last stitch, and then we will finish it off and then go on and move on to our row 3. So I will have you guys go ahead and do that, and then when you have just a stitch left, and if for some reason your stitches doesn't add up and you have more than 1 stitch to go, come back. I will show you how to work around that. Okay, so I'll see you guys at the end of this row. Okay, my lovelies, so I have worked the second row to the end of it here. So as you can see, I do have this stitch here, and then I have this one here. So I said earlier, when you have 1 stitch to come back, I mean 1 stitch left like this, and the second one being the final one. So I'll do my chain 1 here, and then what I will do is I will go into this stitch and do my double crochet, okay, like that, and then I'll do a single crochet at the end here to represent our chain 1 that we did here that did not count, but it does make it look so that it comes off like this, not just a standing alone double crochet. Okay, so like this. So now this side equals the same way that we started here, and then I'm going to do a chain of 1 and turn, and in this stitch right here, I'm going to go in and do a half double crochet. Then I'm going to skip into the center here and do a half double crochet, and then on top of the triangle stitch here, there's a stitch right on top of it right here. You're going to go into that and do a half double crochet, and then into the big gap here, go ahead and do a half double crochet. On top of the triangle stitch, do a half double crochet, and then in the gap, do a half double crochet. And then for your third row, you pretty much continue to do this all the way to the end of your row. And then we go ahead and repeat this about 5 more times. So we do a half double crochet for 6 rows totals, but for you it will be 5 after finishing the first one. And that will be the pattern repeat. It's gonna be a triangle stitch and then followed by 6 half double crochet stitches rows, and then a triangle stitch row, and then followed by 6 half double crochet rows. So as you can see here, I'm just coming to an end because I'm doing a small sample. It goes faster for me. So I'm gonna finish it off here so I can show you how to start the next row. And at the end, obviously, as you have done here, so you go on top of the triangle stitch and then you go into the big gap here, and then you go into the final stitch at the end like this. Okay, so that is the end of row 3, and it should look something like this, very nice and textured. Okay, and then you're going to do a chain 1, turn. When you're doing your triangle stitch, or when you're doing your half double crochet stitches, you do a chain 1. The same thing when you start off your triangle stitches, you do a chain 1, which then you go into the next stitch and do a double crochet. So again, we go into the first stitch here and do a half double crochet, and then a half double crochet, and then you just continue this, and it's not going in the back loop or anything like that. You're just doing your regular half double crochet stitches for 5 rows or 6 rows total, and then you repeat your triangle stitches. Okay, so I'm gonna finish the 5 remaining rows here of the half double crochet, then I'll come back to show you how to commence your triangle stitch again, and then we will just continue to repeat those 7 rows for the remainder of the project here. Okay, so I will see you guys when you have completed 5 extra rows, so 6 altogether of the half double crochet stitches. Okay, my lovelies, so I have completed my 6 rows of the half double crochet stitch here, and as you can see, this is how your first 6, 7, 8 rows should look like. Okay, and then now we're going to go back and do another row of the triangle stitch here, and all we need to do is just chain 1 and turn. And in that first stitch right after that, we're going to do a double crochet, just like that. And then we're going to start our triangle stitch by going into the next stitch, and then looping over, and then going into the next stitch, and then looping over and going into the next stitch. Okay, and make sure you always have 7 stitches on your loop by the time you yarn over and go through the first 6, like that, and then yarn over, go through the following 2 remaining, and then chain 1, and then start your next triangle stitch by going into the last stitch that you went into, and then going into the next one, and then into the next one, and then making sure you have 7 stitches on a loop, yarning over, going through the first 6, then yarning over, finishing the last 2, chaining 1. Okay, so this is what you will do again, because if you're working on the actual full project, it's gonna be a while to get over this row. So you're just gonna do the same thing where you pause the video and make sure you complete the row all the way to the end, and you will have 2 stitches to go. The first stitch you do a double crochet, and then the last one you do a single crochet. Okay, and that kind of mimics the way we started the first row, the first part of the row. Okay, so as you can see here, I'm just gonna go ahead and finish, go to the end so I can complete that with you guys, and then you will pretty much pause the video, save it if you need to save it, and then work on your project until you have the length that you're looking for. So the length will be up to you. If you want it to be a shorter one, you can. If you want it to be a longer one, you can, and so on and so forth. Okay, and then you chain 1, and then you go into this stitch here, so on top of the double single half double crochet. If you can get into it, make sure you can get into it, and do a double crochet, and then finish it off by doing a single crochet at the end. In this final one here, do a single crochet. Okay, so that's how your next triangle stitch should look like. And then you just do a chain 1 and turn, and then commence your half double crochet stitches. Very simple. And then you do this 6 more times like this, and then you go into your triangle stitch, and then you do 6 more rows of the half double crochet, do your triangle stitch, and then you just continue this until you have the length. So I will stop here. So if you don't mind, I bring the book back. So you're building this part here. So you're gonna continue to build it, measure it, see how you want it to fall on your back. And when you have that length created, come back to the video. I will bring my actual work in so we can actually proceed from there together, okay? So I will see you guys then. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and worked my project here. It's quite big that I cannot have it all on my work table at once. So as you can see, this is where we started our work right here. Okay, our first half double crochet here, and then the puff stitches, and then we continue to alternate. So what I did here was, instead of finishing off with 6 stitches at the end here, I finished it off with 5, because we have the one to add on to from the beginning here. You don't have to follow what I'm doing, I just prefer for it to match like that. Okay, now if we talk about the number of rows that I did about 68 rows altogether up like this, and that adds up to about 26 inches. And then for the length from here, from the right side here all the way to this other side here, it's about 36 inches. Okay, all right, so now I'm gonna talk about the next step of the project here. So I cut off my yarn at the end here. I left a very long string to be able to sew in our work, but I will pretty much just chain over this and then pull it to lock it in. Okay, and now what we will do is I will bring in this corner here. Okay, so we're gonna be able to join it like this, and then I'll bring in this corner here as well to be able to join it like this. And what you will need to do is you need to measure out your armhole here. Okay, so for this section here, make sure you measure out your armhole. Actually, what I will do quickly here, I'll just use the sample to show you guys how to do it. So this is the sample that we created. It's small enough for me to show you guys how to fold your work. So when all of your work is completed and this is how it looks like, what you will do is you will fold it like this. Okay, and then what you will do for this section here, because your armhole is going to be this section here, you're going to measure it to see where you need to join it. Okay, and the same thing on this side. So let's say that this was the armhole right here. This is where I want my arm to come out. Then I will join this and close it right here, and I will make sure I mimic the exact same thing on this other side. So this is where my arm will come through, and from here to here I will close it. And then at the end, when we do this to our sweater shrug, it's gonna look something like this. And then we're going to be working the gray color along here to create a border for the front section of it. Okay, so I hope that is making sense. I should have probably been a little bit prepared how to show you guys how to do this, but just the table is too big for me to show you guys how to do that. So what I will do here is I'm just gonna section out an armhole here, and this is where our stitch markers come in handy. So make sure you measure your arm and make sure you have enough space for your armhole. I'm thinking that I will go up to here, so I will put a stitch marker here like this. So this is where my arm will come through, which means from here to here I close it by doing by sewing it. And then I will do the same thing on this side. Just to match it on the other side, I will put my stitch marker in this section here, which means then this is where my arm is gonna come through, which means I close from here to here. Okay, so that is what we're gonna work on now. And all you need to do is just grab your darning needle and put your yarn through, and then you're going to work on closing these here. It doesn't matter what type of sewing you use to do it, because I know there's different ways you can use to sew your work. But what I do pretty much from here is I just go through to the very first section here, and I pull my yarn there, and then I'll go into the next section. Because there's no actual stitches to work with in this section, you're just gonna make sure you don't go too wide, you don't go too close to each other, and then you also don't go too deep into the work. You just grab the very minimum as you can grab it, like this, and then you just continue to work it all the way to where the stitch marker is. When you get to the stitch marker, you cut the yarn off, and then you move it to the other side and repeat the exact same thing. Okay, so I will have you guys go ahead and complete this section here. When you have done so, come back. I will show you guys how to start the next part of the project. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I've gone ahead and completed joining my work here. This is my armhole right here, and of course the exact opposite side is exactly the same as well. So as you can see here, I joined it here, and this is where my armhole is going to come through. And now all we have to do is work in the middle here, because we're going to try to make it so that we extend this section of it here, so kind of like doing a border. And then we will do the same thing with the sleeves section. Okay, now at this time here, I'm going to bring in the gray color that I showed you at the beginning, and I'm going to use these corners here to start my stitches. So I'm going to start somewhere here and then go around, and then when I get back here, I will turn and then go back the other way, and then we will just use this section here as our place where we're starting and finishing our row. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and grab the gray color, and then I will show you guys how to connect and then how to start from here. Okay, so I have my gray color set up here, ready to go. The first thing I'm going to do is obviously do a slip knot, just so we can have a section to start our work. And then I'm going to go into that stitch here, and I'm going to go ahead and bring the loop through just like this. And then I'm going to chain 2, and then I am going to go into the next stitch right here, and I'm going to do a double crochet. Then I'm going to move on to the next stitch and do a double crochet, and into the next stitch I'm going to do a double crochet. And as you can see, I'm bringing my yarn through just to weave it in, and that way I don't have to do it later. So I'm going to continue to pretty much do my double crochet stitches all around until I come back to this section here. So I should be able to do my last double crochet here, and then we will go ahead and start the next row, and I will show you guys what to do with that second row, which is going to be our repeat row. Okay, so go ahead and complete this first row of the double crochets first, and then come back when you have reached the beginning of the row here. Okay, my lovelies, so I have worked my double crochets pretty much all around, as you can see here. Very easy to see with the different colors. So I worked all of my double crochets all around, and now we're back at the beginning here where we started off. And so I'm going to slip stitch on top of the chain 2 that we did previously, where we started off the row. I'm going to just slip stitch it like that to close this section and to start the next row. Okay, and now for the next row, I'm going to chain 2. And I'm going to actually continue working in a circle like this, as opposed to turning and going the other way. Just going to make it easier. Okay, so from here, after I do my chain 2, I'm going to start doing my front post, back post double crochets. So this here counts as a double crochet, and then I'm going to do my front post double crochet on this next stitch here. So I'm going to yarn over, go around the back of this first stitch or the first double crochet, bring it back up, and then complete my double crochet. And then for the back loop, for the back post, I'm going to yarn over, go to the front of the next stitch or the next double crochet, and then complete my double crochet, and then repeat that by doing the next one will be the front post like that, and then the next one will be a back post like that, and the next one is a front post. And then we just repeat this all around again until you come back to where we started off here, where we will slip stitch on top of this and then start the next row. And this is pretty much our repeat row right here. Okay, so the second row of this part is our repeat row. But I would like you guys to work the front post, back post, double crochets all around, and then I'll show you how to start the next row, and then I will have you guys repeat. Okay, so I will see you guys when you get back to here. Okay, my lovelies, so I have completed the second row here of the alternation between the front post double crochet and the back post double crochet. And I'm gonna show you row 3, and then after that I'll just have you guys repeat it until you have the size that you're looking for. So as you can see, I did my front post double crochet here, so I will go ahead and slip stitch on top of that chain 2 that we started the row with, and this is how it ends up looking. And then I'm going to do a chain 2 to commence the next row. And as you can see here, this is a front post double crochet. It's facing us, which means it is a back post. It's a front post, so we're going to do a front post with the same one. Okay, so we're just going to follow how it lays itself out here. So for this next one here, it's going to be for the back post double crochet, and then for the next one here, we're going to do a front post. So you just continue to follow how they are falling. If you see that it's a back post, which means it's a front post from the previous row, and if it's a front post, you just follow that trend. Okay, so this one here becomes a front post because it's facing us, and the one that is on the back of us is with the one we're going to do a back post. So you repeat it like this. Okay, so we're going to do this for as many rows as you want. I'm probably going to do between 8 to 10 rows, just to build up like a spot that is maybe that long in width. And when we have it done, so you're going to do it however you think it's going to fit you. If you want your border to just be as small as just 2 rows, you do that. If you want it to be 5 rows, however many rows you want to do, you go ahead and do that. I'm going to build mine up, and in the process of doing that, I'm going to keep trying it on to make sure that it's falling properly. It's not too gappy in the middle of our chest here, because we want it to be nice and it covers you properly. And then when you have reached the length or the width of the border that you're looking for, come back. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do a couple of rows of the border in the arms as well. Okay, so I will see you guys when you have completed however many rows you want for this part here. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and completed the border of the shrug here. Again, it's too big for me to show you guys in one piece, but as you can see, this is what I did here to create the border. And I ended up doing 12 rows. I was going to do between 8 and 10, but when I stopped at 8, it was too small, and then I went up to 10, and then I decided to just do 12, which I think is a right size for creating the border of the shrug, because then it will make it come closer on our chest when we have it on. Okay, so as you can see here, I have already cut off the yarn, and all I did here was I just slip stitch like we were about to start another row or to finish the row, and then I just did a chain 1 and pulled it to close that section off. So I will weave these in a bit. But what I also did was I started one of the sleeves. So as you can see here, this is one of our shrug sleeve that I did the same, where I just went into the bottom corner here, and I did 4 rows total. So the first row is of double crochet to create our base, and then I did 3 rows of the front post, back post, double crochet. And I think that is enough to do 4 rows for that, because we don't want it to have an actual sleeve that comes out too far. And I think that is enough like that. So what I will do here is I will just end this here, and I will cut off the yarn, and then I will connect it to the other side so I can show you guys how to do it, but I will also show you guys how to end it here for the same way that I did with this section here. Okay, so all I do is I just take my yarn and I cut it somewhere just like that, and then I'm going to pretty much just do a chain 1 here to lock it in like that, and then that kind of locks it in, and I would weave in the end here. And so what I will do is I will go to the opposite side of the other side of the sleeve. So as you can see here, this is the second sleeve, and I'm going to show you guys how to start the sleeve there. And then you will obviously complete this second sleeve and then do the first as well, or do the first and then go into the second. I just wanted to make sure I did one first so that you guys can see what we're doing. If you want to leave your sleeves like this, by the way, you're absolutely more than welcome to do that. Just for the sake of this tutorial, we're doing the gray on the sleeve section as well, or on the on the sleeve or your armhole section. So I'm just gonna start by doing a slip knot like that, and then I'm going to go into the middle of our work here. So I just put my crochet hook somewhere here, then I bring the loop through that space like this, and then I chain 2, which counts as a double crochet. Our string that we started the loop with, we're going to weave it in as we go through, okay? And then I'm going to go ahead and yarn over and do a double crochet in the next gap that I have. We don't have actual stitches to work into, so we're just going to make spaces for us to work our double crochets in. So for example, I did that there. I will do the next one somewhere here. And the key here is to make it so that you're not creating two gaps that are too wide apart from each other, but that you're also not doing it too close to each other that they look like you're doing 2 in 1. And also you don't want to go too far down or too close up, because you want them to have a good line up of where you're working your stitches. Okay, so we just do our double crochets while we're weaving in our string there, and we just continue to do this around the sleeve hole. And then when we finish that, we will do 3 more rows of the front post double crochet and back post double crochet stitches that we did, and then that will be the end of the project. Okay, but for you, because you need to do the second side as well, you will make sure, oh, and just quickly here before I continue, there's this gap here of where we did the triangle stitch. We're gonna do 2 in that because the gap is too big for us to just do 1. So like this, okay, like that. Then we move on to the next gap and do double crochet, and then the next gap. And as I was saying, because I did my first sleeve already, and I'm now showing you how to do the second sleeve, so it means you have the whole first sleeve to do. So you will finish this, and then you will move on to the next one and do the same with that one. But for now, you're going to pretty much, so you see, I'm just going to show you guys an example here. I did this one too far down. It looks like it doesn't line up with the rest of it. So I will undo that stitch, and instead of doing it low in this space, I will go in the space just right above it to do my double crochet. That way they line up properly, okay, like this. So it looks much better like this. Okay, so we're gonna continue to do this all the way to the beginning right here. When we get here, come back. I will show you how to start the second row, which is the front post, back post, double crochet. Then I will have you guys complete that on your own. Okay, but see you guys in a bit when you get to here. Okay, my lovelies, so I have worked my double crochets around the sleeve here, and as you can see, I just came to where we started the row here. And now that I've completed my last double crochet here, I'm going to slip stitch on top of this chain 2 that we created previously, and I'm just going to slip stitch like that. Okay, so this is how it should look. And then we're going to chain 2 and start the next row, and this is going to be where we start at the front post, back post, double crochet. So this counts as a double crochet here, and so and it's connected to this stitch here, and of course the next stitch we work into is this one. So we're going to yarn over and go to the front of that, and then grab it and do a front post double crochet. Now we're going to yarn over, go to the back and grab the next one from the front side and complete a double crochet, and the next one we do the same. And this is pretty much the same thing that we did to this section here. So we're creating the same pattern as we did here on the sleeve, but only for 3 rows, including the first double crochet here. It's 4 rows altogether. Okay, so you just alternate your front post double crochets with your back post double crochets, and then when you get back to this section here, you will do your last one here, whichever that is. It could be the back post or the front post, and then when you've completed that, you slip stitch on top of this chain 2 that we did, and then chain 2, and then follow the pattern here. So for this next stitch here, you would do a front post double crochet, and then a back post double crochet, a front post double crochet, a back post double crochet, and then you just follow the pattern like that for the next 3 rows. Okay, So I will have you guys complete your number of rows. You may do more than I am doing. You may do less, or you may even not do any at all, in which case you're probably not watching this section of the video. But obviously if you are, you're watching it, and then that is what you're going to be doing. And then I will see you guys when you have completed however many rows you're doing for this sleeve section. So I will see you guys in a bit, but in this case as well, go ahead and finish your second one as well. Because I have already done that, I'm not going to be able to obviously do it again. So I'm going to finish this. You guys pause the video, come back when you've completed both, and then we'll finish the video together, okay? I will see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have completed 4 rows for the sleeve here. So as you can see, I just came to the end of the row 4 here. I've done my back loop double crochet here, or my back post double crochet. So I'm gonna go ahead and slip stitch on top of this chain 2 that we started the row with, just like that. And then I'm gonna go ahead and cut the yarn. So I'm gonna cut it somewhere here, just like that. And then I'm going to do a chain 1 to lock that in. So I'm going to do something like this and lock that in, okay? So with that done, it pretty much means we're done with the project. So the only thing that I have to do here is weave in this string here, the one on the other sleeve, and of course the one in the middle where we did the actual body, or the middle border of the shrug, okay? So this is pretty much done. This is gonna be a little bit difficult for me to show you like this, so I'll find another way to show you guys in a video the whole thing in a flat section, so that you can see the whole thing all together. And of course with pictures you'll see as well how it looks like when it's worn. But this is pretty much it here, so I'll let you guys go, and I hope you guys have made something that you're satisfied with and that you really love. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe, comment, and as well share the video with your friends and family. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you can be notified of future videos. But for now, I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.